This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff, with a homie, plus a new homie.
New homie. What's up, party people? We have Nate, we have Sam, and we have our new friend, Mr. Noah. Hi, Noah.
Happy to be here. How are you guys?
Good. Glad to have you, buddy.
Right, welcome to the show. Today is Tuesday, June 20th. Happy belated Father's Day,
Yes.
Jim,
Happy
to,
Father's
to
Day,
Jim
guys.
and Jim and other fathers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I hope everybody did some reflecting and did some celebrating on Juneteenth today.
Also, happy Juneteenth.
Well, yesterday.
Happy Juneteenth.
Well, it's today, but if you're listening, yesterday.
Yeah, that's the one. We're recording a day late this week so that some people could celebrate the Father's Day. Jim, what did you get to do on Father's Day with your little ones?
I cleaned the garage, which was super awesome. They let me, clean out my garage. And then the kids wanted to do s'mores last night, so I had a s'more night.
Your garage now, I'm just thinking from the time when I helped you move
When you
into
helped
the
me move
current
it in,
location,
yes.
had it degraded significantly, or is this just a normal
Um,
accumulation?
About half. You know how like the winter you start like snow shovels and the bag of salt and all that happy horse shit. So I just had to reorganize and get all the winter crap finally out of my garage. So it felt good.
All right. Well, there's been a lot of noise in major sports over the past week while we're getting into now the dog days of summer. Quite literally, we're almost at the summer solstice, correct? The longest day of the year. I think it's within the
Mm-hmm.
next week. We had championship parades in both the NBA and the NHL.
That occurred.
A major championship in the golf world.
Mm-hmm.
Major topic from last week, golf. So nothing reared its head in this particular situation, but there were some controversial things that were going on at LA Country Club.
Sure.
John Morant found out his punishment.
A
Or
lot lighter than I thought it would be.
yeah, we'll definitely get into that. And a Swifty no longer has a job. I don't know if we can say this person is a confirmed Swifty, but Bob Huggins.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about this.
Well, we don't have Alex, so this is going
I
to be
know.
maybe a little more interesting because there won't be a hardcore person on the one side being like, "Oh, I love Bob Huggins."
I think even Alex knows that
It was time.
it was his time.
All of this and more in this week's episode, along with, again, special guest Noah and Jim. We have another helmet.
We have a helmet conversation to have, a helmet tourney. This time with a proper display. Worked hard at it.
Oh, you have something for us this week?
I do this week.
Okay, the conference we're going to be talking about this week is
The ACC.
the ACC. This is normally a time when Alex and I begrudgingly talk about where the Pirates are at the moment. The Pittsburgh Pirates are 34-35, losing their last six and losing right now, I believe, Nate, correct?
Correct. 3-0.
3-0 to the Cubbies. The last six losses are all in the division, which makes it even worse.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, they are 34-36 now, right, Nate?
I don't know. I haven't been keeping track.
Either way, I know that they're in third place, 2.5 games out of first, entering this current season with the this current series with the Cubs.
The
But
Pirates have officially pirated.
Jim, in pure pirate fashion, we have created some reason for optimism as they have called up 2021 number one draft pick and top prospect Henry Davis. He's in the lineup tonight playing right field. He's hitting 284 this season between AA and AAA and has 11 home runs. And Nate, what did he do in his first at bat?
He hit a piss missile at 106 inside the third baseline for a stand-up double.
Optimism again, Jim. If you want some optimism, there's where it is.
Until the game's over.
So, unfortunately, they did have a potentially serious situation last week where one of the drivers of a team bus that was hired to get them from Chicago to Milwaukee was pulled over and charged with a DUI.
If the team bus driver has the DUI,
Well, they hired
like
the person. It's not like this was somebody that was working for the Pirates.
that company should go belly up. That's a problem.
That definitely is an issue. This had me thinking: have any of us been involved in any serious incidents involving a bus.
A bus?
A bus. I have two.
I have a friend who got out off a bus or had an incident with a bus at a Pens game and got like severely injured at a Pens game. As far as a bus goes, no.
Okay. For me, these were both involving school buses. I think I was definitely in middle school in one of them, maybe in both of them. The first was I actually had a school bus that I was on pulled over on the way to school when I
Mm-hmm.
was in middle school in a school zone right as we were about to pull into the school because the bus driver was going probably about 40 in a school zone.
Sure.
Just
Sure.
move along. There was no like, I've got all information. Don't let me catch you doing this again. Which I thought at the time I was like, oh, okay, this is how things go. The second one also involved the law, and I was in middle school basketball, and on the way back from a middle school basketball game, there were multiple people that were throwing things out the bus window,
Oh yeah.
and apparently somebody threw. It was assumed. I had no idea what it was. Assumed that it was a coin at a just off the lot Mustang.
Oh,
Chipped the windshield. Let me tell you that man chased the bus down very quickly,
I
pulled it
bet.
over, and the cops were there very, very quickly. Um, there were some punishments that were
Oh,
dealt
I bet.
to members of the team. So those are the two incidents I have with the bus.
Noah,
No,
you have any buses?
No buses over here, but those are Muff stole the thunder there. Those are pretty good stories.
Ooh.
I never been in an
It's hard to beat
accident.
those.
Never
That's
been in
true.
an accident with a bus, thank God. But Jesus, Nate,
Yeah,
any bus
knock on
stories?
wood.
No, the only bus stories I could think of are the one that got in the sinkhole in the city of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Oh
No,
yeah.
just thinking of stories in general. But
Yeah.
what coin did you throw out the window, Muff? Did you throw a dime, a penny?
I listen. I was not involved in that mess.
Oh, old Saint Muff's not gonna do anything like
Oh,
that. No way.
Muff, it's all in the past. It's okay.
Hey, listen. I'm not gonna. I did not throw anything at a vehicle. I'm not gonna say I didn't throw out a window, but I did not throw anything at a vehicle.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Uh, I will say there's about 3 or 4 members of that team that had some suspensions to deal with.
Anything that I did on a bus, you can't say on this podcast. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's why I went with situations, not necessarily things.
Oh, they were situations.
Oh, okay. Is this Jersey Shore now?
Yeah, I mean,
I just want to know though, like, how did those guys get on that bus and not have any suspicion? And they like, how far did they get out of Chicago before they pulled him over?
I think they're just happy to be out of Chicago.
Well, yeah, they were going to Milwaukee. Well, yeah, especially they had been swept at that point. Um, well, they were pulled over because of erratic driving. Like a police person actually pulled them over.
All right. All right. That's ridiculous. But they're the Pirates. They were probably drunk themselves.
Definitely have been over the past week. All right. Well, this is 2 weeks in a row that we're going to lead with golf. So,
Yeah.
not sure how everyone feels about this, but
I mean,
we had good
one
reason
was
last
good.
week.
This one I don't know about.
It's a major championship. The U.S. Open was this past week at LA Country Club, and it was less than exciting overall. We did have some big names at the top of the leaderboard, but none of the live guys were really up at the top. Quick recap: Ricky Fowler came hot in the first 2 days, recording the most birdies in the first 36 holes ever in a U.S. Open, and takes the lead into Saturday, where LA Country Club, as most U.S. Open courses do, started to fight pack, including a much anticipated 81-yard par 3. And unfortunately didn't live up to the expected billing of the carnage that was hoped for. That's incredibly rare to see a under 100-yard par 3 in the pros. So know that we're not all golf fans here, but it was interesting to me. Going into Sunday, Fowler was tied with Wyndham Clark, as Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler, and Harris English were all within striking distance. I think it's over the past 30 years, there's been no U.S. champion that hasn't been within 4 or 5 strokes going into Sunday, which definitely was similar this year. On Sunday, Fowler did make additional history by recording the most birdies ever in a U.S. Open, but bad news, he also had the highest bogey rate and fell off early while Wyndham Clark and Rory stayed steady throughout the day.
Yes.
In the end, though, Wyndham Clark comes out on top, winning the U.S. Open at 10 under par, followed by Rory at -9 and Scottie Scheffler at -7.
Can we talk about the putters first? Yes.
Okay.
The putters look like goddamn beer taps. Like the handles on the putters.
Oh, the Super Stroke wide grip.
I think Fowler and Scheffler maybe.
Many players do have that wide grip or that girth to their putter.
What are they doing?
So I don't have that large of a grip, but on my putter,
I bet you don't.
Well. But it's helpful because it helps release grip pressure, so you don't have to hold it necessarily, like hold down on it as tight.
Right.
That's the it works. There was much ado, and Paul Azinger got himself in a pickle throughout.
This is just great content right now.
Yeah, got himself in a pickle because they made mention that Ricky Fowler and Wyndham Clark have the same grip on their putter.
And the same putter.
Said it like 5 or 6 times.
The same putter.
Well, apparently Ricky Fowler has had that, and Wyndham Clark like tested it out one day and was like, I really like this. And then he copied it and just like, I'm just going to take the same setup you got, buddy. So they mentioned that like 5 or 6 times. Paul Azinger also just he's newer to the golf announcing world, and he needs a little bit more practice.
Why? What's wrong with this?
A couple of his calls, he made a call at one point where somebody hit a shot around the green, and he said, there's no way to keep this within 10 feet. It's impossible. Just the undulation of the green, where the pin is, where the person was hitting it from. There's no way you can keep this within 10 feet. So I forget who it was. The person hit it. It probably was about 15 feet, and it was on a slope. And Paul Azinger said, there's no way that the slope brings it back. There's no way. You can't keep it inside 10 feet. You can't get inside 10 feet. As the ball continues to roll within 10 feet and gets down to like 4 or 5 feet, he continues to say, there's just no way. There's just no way it can continue to roll. There's no way, and nobody can keep this inside 10 feet. As it's within 10 feet, he was pretty much just saying, this is impossible. And kept making a point of it. And didn't say like, oh, that was a really good shot. He said, there's no way, that's something's weird here. I don't know what happened there.
Are you saying it's rigged? He was kind of alluding to it being rigged.
I don't think you can rig that on live TV, Jim. It's not like they had like a fan.
But is that what he was saying? That's what he had opened him. Okay, then I don't understand the problem. That he was a shit announcer, and they were playing with real girthy putters. Like the way the game has changed, girth is what matters now. Length, not so much. Girth.
The game has changed. S. Simon Williamson.
Size matters.
And there's Sam Snippet.
There you go. Sam has tossed it in for the day.
I'm Heartbreaker stuff, but I can still pop in.
She can pop in.
What are we making today, Sam?
I'm currently
making doilies.
3 belt bags for Etsy.
What type of bags?
Surprisingly silent this whole conversation.
I don't know. It seems like any order she gets anymore off her Etsy shop is for these damn belt bags.
I think I need 200 of them.
Nate, how do you feel about the girthy putter conversation?
I mean, it is what it is.
Some have it, some don't, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
Some have it in the bag, some don't.
Yeah.
So some more things about the U.S. Open and it being at LA Country Club, which was supposed to be this big pomp and circumstance thing, and it was. LA Country Club sits on land worth about $8 billion in Los Angeles.
Jesus.
Yeah, it is. It is the second most valuable plot of land after, guess what?
Trump.
I think I saw it. It was like Central Park in
Yes.
New York City.
Yes.
Yeah, that's absurd.
The second most valuable plot of land after Central Park. It's a golf course.
Golf course.
There were some golf purists who were upset that the tournament wasn't packed with passionate golf fans. This tournament was, as things are in LA, all about the Benjamins with corporate tents, and most of the tickets being purchased by corporate
Rich people
entities,
and Saudis.
the members. I don't know if any of them were corporate sponsors just yet. With only about 8,000 tickets a day left for general admission.
Because the rest of the people were rich.
And they're in the corporate tents, and they're sitting up there drinking.
And they're Saudis. Oh, I'm sorry.
Potentially, I don't know.
Secret Saudis.
Public investment fund, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're secret. I don't know if you keep that one a secret. And there weren't necessarily a lot of fans around a lot of greens, which is some due to the course setup, and as well just the fact there's only like 8,000 general admission tickets sold, so there's only so many places for people to be all at once.
You know what I learned here, Muff?
What?
Never lead with golf again.
Never lead with golf again, huh?
Nope.
Unless
had a good run.
Unless we're talking about live and PIF.
Yeah, or more on the girthy putters. But other than that, let's start with a new topic next time.
It's US Open, Jim.
And buy Jim a girthy putter.
You know what? I might get a girthy putter.
Sorry that you don't have one already.
Me too. Probably my wife is too.
There's things to take for that.
Sorry, Joe.
My aunt is now buying supplements like that for GNC. So if you need some, I can hook you up.
Why does your aunt need a girthy putter? All right, let's move on. Let's move on to basketball news.
Oh, basketball. Let's talk about balls now. We're talking about girthy putters. Let's talk about basketballs.
Big balls.
Let's talk about them. The NBA has a new champion, and this could be the start of something special. Denver Nuggets take down the Miami Heat in 5 games. This was early last week, but since we're a weekly show, we're getting to it now. They win on their home court behind Nikola Jokic, who gets the MVP. Initial thoughts?
He was a very angry person about that parade. That's my initial thought.
Initially, he was. He came around, though. He came around.
He just wanted to go home.
He did. So a little bit of a timeline. Denver wins the title on Monday, and Jokic wins the MVP. And during his post-game interview, as Jim has alluded to, finds out that the parade is on Thursday. And Jokic is a little upset because he can't go back home to Serbia, where his hometown will be hosting a horse race.
That he owns a horse in.
Yes, he is an avid horse owner. Rides him around town. You
imagine that big tall bastard on a horse?
I don't think he's on the horse. I think they do the wagon, the pull behind.
Of course, it's Serbia. My fault.
I don't know what that means.
Like when you were growing up, let's just take a sidebar for a second. When you were growing up and you saw cartoons and things, like my impression of Serbia when I was a kid was like, that's a desolate area where you send people. It's like Abu Dhabi's right next to it. If you saw Odi in Serbia, you'd be like, oh, that makes sense. It's like, that's my impression of Serbia.
It's like Timbuktu, where they send all Garfield's friends.
Fair.
See? Noah backs me up. No, I like you on the show.
No, that's fair. I think that makes sense. Like, just like Abu Dhabi, like that.
Yeah.
That paints the picture right.
And then you put, his grandma and his yenta and everybody on the back of the horse and on the carriage, and he's eating his porridge and getting pulled by a horse. That makes sense to me.
What are they eating, Jim? They eating borscht?
Borscht, yeah. He just wants to go home to his yenta.
He just wanted to go home to his yenta and the horses.
Yep.
After we got through the press conference and we figured out that he was not excited for the parade, at least initially, he seemed to really not understand the whole celebration situation either. He was seen grabbing a champagne bottle where everyone else is, spritzing it, right? We've talked about girthy putters, we're talking about basketballs, now we're talking about the spritzing of the champagne, right? He didn't understand what was going on, so he just grabbed it and started drinking it, which
nobody else was... it. Even he's like, in my country, this is expensive.
But nobody else was doing it with him was the thing. He's kind of like sitting off the side like, oh, I'm going to have some champagne here.
Yeah.
And then he half-heartedly shook the bottle and didn't really get much going on there. Then he pulled Jamal Murray into a pool, which seemed to be the most fun he had that night that we know of.
He's there to do a job. I'm sorry. Like, I don't blame the guy. I relate.
He definitely has come across as like the everyman
Yeah.
NBA superstar. He's like, I'm really good at basketball, guys, and that's about where we leave that.
He's
Yeah.
a boring player. Like, he's got to be the most boring VP in like the last like 10 years.
I'm okay
No,
with it.
Potentially ever.
Yeah. Like, no
I-
commercials, no like, crazy interviews. He's just plain Jane. I'm like, all right. I mean, if you're that good, you can do whatever the hell you want.
I think he's got to have some TV, some type of promotion coming his way now.
Yeah,
Like this
Serbia.
persona. No, I think mainstream. I think his persona is definitely lending to something. They gotta bank on this.
Come to Yenta's horse rental. We give you a discount.
We gotta get him to like the Kentucky Derby next year or something.
Oh, that'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
Have him hang out with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packer people.
Oh yeah, love it.
Yeah, I could see him doing ayahuasca with
That's
Rodgers.
what I'm saying. Like his eyes can be opened up to a lot of things in that trip.
What is this blackout? Reminds me of home. Everything is dark.
I go to Darkness Retreat next time.
He'd be like, "This is fun.
Come to my country if you want darkness. In Serbia."
It also came out later in the week that Jokic left the MVP trophy in the facility and didn't know where it was. I'm not sure it's because he got drunk or he just like, whatever.
It means nothing to me. I want to go home.
Also, what, Jim?
Never mind. It was good. I'm sorry.
It was good or was it bad?
It was bad.
Okay. So we fast forward a couple days to Thursday. The parade comes around, and Jokic is there. I'm sure begrudgingly at first, but apparently the liquor was flowing, the beers were going down, and he said, I'm not quoting, this is paraphrasing, first I did not want to go to parade. Now I fucking love parade. And he said that over the mic in Denver.
Because they got him drunk.
Yeah.
I love the parade.
I don't need horses here. No horses. Put me on top of bus.
I see police horse. Very good breed. You want beer? This is amazing.
And then he went back home, and he was there for the horse races over the last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Do we know how his horse did?
I didn't hear anything about it, but apparently when Mike Malone, who was another treasure of the parade, by the way, the head coach, got on the mic and just wouldn't let the mic go. He was actually a good interview. He was on the Pat McAfee show and seemed like just like a down-to-earth dude. Made a couple jabs at LeBron because they were talking about the series. And he's like, you know what? We're the only team that's ever been up 1-0 in a series, and everyone said that the other team had us figured out how to beat us after one game when they didn't even win. He also then said, since the series is over now and we're done, I want to tell everybody I think I might be retiring now. With another jab at LeBron about LeBron after they lost, talking about retirement. But Mike Malone was also another pleasure in that whole thing.
What do you think Jokic thinks of when LeBron flops? Do you think he just looks at him and goes, "What is this guy doing? This is not basketball." Honestly, what do you think his thoughts are when he sees shit like that?
Well, is anybody? This is a couple years ago, right? Where he and Miami Heat, I forget who it was in the Miami Heat, got into a shoving match. In fact, I think the Miami Heat guy came down, like ran into him on a screen or pushed him while they're running on the court for no apparent reason. And then that guy turned his back and Jokic just came up and just laid the wood to him, just like straight shoulder in the middle of this guy's back. And the guy went down, which led to bench clearing, people ejected, blah, blah, blah. And Jokic's brothers, who there's a lot of discussion, have some ties to some, we'll say some seedy underbelly of society.
Oh,
because there was a lot of noise afterwards about how people were coming for Jokic, and shortly after his brothers got involved, apparently they made a Twitter account for a sole purpose of tweeting at the player or players that were coming at Jokic. Let's just say that stopped real quick after they got involved. His brothers are at games.
I have a feeling that Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff's Twitter account We're sorry.
May have a
I
new
did not mean that accent.
I think we have a new follow.
I apologize.
Let's rewind. And Jim takes everything back.
My bad.
Sorry I didn't lead with that, buddy, but
Yeah. Now I'm not, when there's a hit placed on me. It's cool.
you know what's up. Anything
Speaking
else?
of putting hits on people,
Oh God.
Jay Morant or Ja Morant.
He did figure out what his punishment would be. And in the Friday news dump, we got hit with the 25-game suspension for conduct detrimental to the league, ending the quote-unquote suspense, I'm going to call it, or what
Can we
Adam
just
Silver
summarize
would
all
do.
this notes? Because I really don't want to dive into this moron.
Oh, but we have to, Jim.
Okay. First off, Noah, are you familiar with the situation?
I've heard kind of a little bit of it, but not too
Okay.
much.
Muff, will you give us because let's give everybody a catch up to the what this idiot's
All
got.
right. So Ja Morant this is about 3 or 4 things now. A high school prospect. He was involved in there's still litigation going on with this potential assault and brandishing of weapons as after a pickup basketball game at Morant's house. This is like 2 years ago. Then Ja Morant goes to the club, sprays a whole bunch of dollar bills over the floor. There's a very interesting picture, him and a stripper and a bunch of dollar bills on the ground. And soon around that time, he was also then on Instagram Live and brandished a gun. Nobody knew if it was loaded or not at the time. He gets 8-game suspension. Tells Adam Silver, "I'm not going to do anything again." Adam Silver lays the hammer down. We thought at the time, we get the Chat GPT apology statement that pops out, and then no more than about a month later. I don't know if we made it to a month. Ja Morant, then again on Instagram Live, this time of one of his buddies, is seen in a vehicle in broad daylight with a gun.
The guy loves his pew pew.
He's a fan. He's a fan of the firearms. So now we have the 25-game suspension. Nate, what are your thoughts on a 25-game suspension?
I mean, I just was looking when you were talking about that. So NBA season is 82 games. So he's going to be missing 30% of the season.
He's losing $8 to $10 million, I think, with the suspension.
I was going to say it's unpaid, right?
Unpaid. He will also not be eligible for any of like the season-long awards, like All NBA, blah blah. Everything comes with that, which can help escalate max contracts in the NBA. The more you're on like those season-long teams, MVPs, All NBAs, defensive, but all of that stuff. The suspension terms do include conditions for return, which haven't been outlined, and it's like, what are the conditions aside from don't be seen on Instagram Live with a gun anymore, buddy, or just don't do anything dumb. So I don't know what all they're looking for. Maybe he's got to go to some classes or do some education. I don't know. Apparently the investigation into the last incident, because initially people thought that he was not aware that he was going to be on Instagram Live. His friend just pulled it up and he happened to have a gun, and then he put it away real quick because it stopped very quickly. The investigation apparently was he was fully aware of what was going on when he did this, which was, again, spitting in Adam Silver's face after everything they did. Jim, you don't want to talk about him, but what are you thinking about him?
I thought he should have got as much as some of these other large suspensions you've listed here. Sprewell got 68 games for choking his head coach, then returning to the court later and swinging on him in 97. Artest, also known as Meta World Peace, 86 games for coming after a fan. OJ Mayo, 164 games for 2 steroid violations.
Mm-hmm.
Gilbert Arenas and Jarvis Creighton, whatever.
Javaris. Yeah.
Each got 50 and 38 games for an altercation over unpaid debt involving guns in their locker room.
Yeah. So apparently they had played a card game of something. Arenas owed Crittenton. Crittenton said, "All right, you're going to pay up now, right?" Not only did Crittenton have a gun, but Arenas had guns in his locker, which is why he got more.
So to me, it's We gave this guy 25 games for basically telling Silver, I don't play by your rules. Like, at least let it match one of the 4 you've listed here.
Well, yeah, these are I think the longest suspensions in NBA history up to that point. So
the 38 games in that heated altercation over guns, I'd have been okay with that.
Well, it was
that
over an unpaid debt, but
it still involved guns.
Guns were drawn on people in the locker room.
This guy's flashing his gun everywhere he can. 3 times.
Yeah, but at least he's not bringing it into the arena that we know of.
Nate.
There's the difference, Jim.
That's the difference. That's the only difference. He's flashing it on Instagram Live in his buddy's car. Meanwhile,
these guys are arguing over a debt.
And pulled them on each other.
Yeah, they're probably playing freaking euchre in the locker room. And then one guy doesn't like it and he pulls a gun on him in the locker room.
I still say 38 games would have been okay.
I expected more. I think I thought what was going to happen is a whole season, it was going to be appealed and it was going to get bargained down to like 40 or 50 games. That was my thought. This one's
probably going to get appealed down to what?
Well, yeah, the MBPA has come out and said the suspension is not fair and consistent with past discipline. And I'm guessing they're just going squarely on the conduct detrimental. Like, if that's all you're going to hang it on, here's other people who have done this. While this is a different type of incident, this is what you said was the violation. How come this is 25 games?
Stupid.
So,
all right, let's get to the real criminal. West Virginia's own Bobby Huggins. Stopped by police on Friday night in Pittsburgh while being questioned, asked to pull over and is unable to complete the task. When questioned by police where he is, shares he's everywhere but Pittsburgh. Allegedly says he's in Columbus. Bobby was not here in Columbus. No one I can vouch. We didn't see him.
Urban?
He wasn't here.
Was he at the Chop House?
He was not at the Chop House. You didn't see him in New Albany, right, Noah?
Nope. No,
I didn't see him here in Pataskla. He wasn't in Gahanna either. We can tell you. But Bobby's been fired.
No, Bobby was not fired.
Oh, he resigned, but
yeah. So he resigned and retired.
The hand was forced.
Yes.
The hand was forced to sign the resignation.
All right. Well, this is now 2 off-season incidents. We have the first whenever he made an anti-gay statement.
Yeah.
Use some not good words in a interview with a Cincinnati radio show, and now we get this. So Bobby dug his own grave, and now I'm seeing all the people that come out and say, "Oh, I wouldn't be anywhere I was without Bobby Huggins, former players, current players, blah blah blah." This has nothing to do with what he did on the basketball court. It's the fact that he can't keep himself out of trouble off the basketball court.
Oh well, bye.
Oh well. There is a note that I put in here that at this point only grad transfers can leave WVU, of which they only have 1, without a waiver. And the NCAA at this point has not been issuing waivers when the request is due to a coaching change in basketball. This rule can be challenged.
From West Virginia anyway.
I think West Virginia did some work in the portal this year, I think.
Yeah, I'd say the roster, I don't follow them well enough like Alex would. But It seems like a lot of their players are transfers.
Yeah.
They had from Arizona.
Kansas, I think.
Out all last year from like Manhattan or something.
Yeah, they went hard in the transfer portal. I think they were hoping that Bobby was going to put together a good team this year. So this could be interesting to see who comes through there. There's some people who are saying that this isn't going to happen. I wouldn't expect, but Missoula, who's the Celtics coach, he was a WVU grad. People were wanting him to come back, but don't think he's going to leave the Celtics to come to WVU.
No, I think you at least got to make the phone call though.
Oh yeah, you're going to do it, but he's going to be like, oh, "Sorry guys, this one's not for me." So. In other news, Draymond Green declining his $27.5 million player option for this upcoming year and will become a free agent. This begs the question if he'll return to Golden State, where he said he would like to retire, or is he making a play to end up with LeBron in LA? If anybody remembers, during last season, during an off couple days, he asked for permission to go to an LA game.
Noah, what do you think, buddy? Where's Draymond go?
Then he's going to go to OKC. Completely switch it up.
That
Young
would be
rising stars. He's a veteran. That's kind of what they need. I mean, he kind of sets the tone. People follow him. So it's like, why not switch it up? OKC's known for always getting loud players too. Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, all of them. They're all pretty loud and vocal. Might as well just add Draymond Green to the alumni.
hey,
Why
it's an
not?
option. It's an option. Who knows? But
I like it. I'm going with Noah.
we'll see. We'll see. There was a trade involving Chris Paul to Washington, Bradley Beal
To the
to
Suns.
Phoenix. Yeah, there was a big trade, and there's still some draft picks and all that going on. Chris Paul's going to Washington and getting paid more than he was at Phoenix, which is interesting in a trade.
But I thought I saw they said they're going to maybe release him or try to trade him as part of another deal.
Yeah, they were looking for an additional team to get involved in the mix, and I don't think that has happened to this point. They could still be searching, but for now, Chris Paul is a Wizard and will no longer be under the majority ownership of Michael Jordan. Well, not in Washington while he played there. But Michael Jordan is selling his majority stake in the Charlotte Hornets, ending his 13-year run at the helm. He bought his majority stake for $275 million in 2010, and he's selling it for $3 billion.
Could put more money in the race team now.
He's picking it up in basketball and dumping it into racing. Isn't this how things go, Jim?
It's the way to go. I mean, you're losing money in both, so why not? Only lose it in one.
It floats, drives, or whatever. You lease it, you don't buy it.
Yeah.
I think that was a rock quote.
Yeah.
So basketball, even though, just ended. I think now we've probably hit the end of the road.
Days of summer.
Hit the end of the road for our basketball talk. Although basketball does stay pretty relevant. The NBA, they do a good job staying relevant. I mean, LeBron James even said, after the parade that, is everybody still talking about me? I can't get away. I'm in Europe and y'all still can't get away from talking about me.
Shut up.
He literally posted that.
I would literally tell him to shut up.
I think you just did.
So now it's into the dog days. The off season.
We're just waiting now for interesting football stories and other things. Baseball doesn't cut it most of the time. No. We can only talk about if the Pirates aren't in first place, that's going to run its course real quick.
Yeah, real quick.
But we do have some football news.
You want to do the helmet thing first?
Matter to me, buddy.
Let's get through the news, then we'll do the helmet thing.
Okay. In football news, first, Antonio Brown has found his way back into our new space. Last week, his former National Arena League team, emphasis on former, the Albany Empires, kicked out of the league after Brown made disparaging remarks about the league, apparently refused to pay the 1/7 of the league's operating budget, which is, all of the owners account for the operating budget, which for then he was punished $1,000 fine. Brown said, I'm not paying that fine either. And then a special meeting of league owners was held, and Brown and the team were kicked out of the league.
And the team. Brown and the team?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole shooting match. Everybody.
You have to kick him out. I mean, like any team that's dumb enough at this point to be like, I want to be associated with Antonio Brown, they're just as bad as Antonio Brown himself. You got to kick him out. New team.
Fair point.
Kick him off the tour, Doug. Kick him off the tour. Brown did say that he's going to take the team to higher levels, and he's eyeing the AFL for this team in the future. Which, at this point, I don't trust anything comes out of that man's mouth.
No.
He's selling dictionaries. And unfortunately, that bill's going to get past due.
Yeah.
Well, and like I said in the group text, if there was ever a picture book in the dictionary, you'd put his face right next to CTE.
Yeah.
Him and Will Smith right beside each other.
Yeah. For sure.
For sure. Over the last week, we had a Father's Day situation with Packers quarterback Jordan Love, and not the type you would probably be thinking about.
I love how Muff's now going to shit on Jordan Love. This is
Okay,
now going to
first off,
be.
this was funny. You
He's going
can't.
to shit all over him.
This is funny. Packers now to be starting quarterback Jordan Love wished the Bears fans a happy Father's Day.
I don't see how that's funny.
Well, Jim, do you not remember that Aaron Rodgers, quote unquote, owns the Bears? He is their daddy. Well, Jordan Love was trying to be funny and saying that he was wishing a happy Father's Day to the Bears fans, but wouldn't that make the fans his daddy?
He messed up his pop shot.
He messed up real bad at the worst time possible.
He'll get over it. I don't even know how this is news, Muff. You just want a shot to make fun of the guy who replaced your boy. It's okay.
Hey, people were running with it, Jim. I'm not the only one.
Listen, you should just bring us news about your boy in New York and leave poor Mr. Love alone.
Hey, listen, they got the week off.
Just leave him alone.
They got the week off for good behavior.
Yeah. But the only thing good coming out of New York right now.
Maybe.
You're gonna have a whole season of downtrodden news.
Well, the Yankees and Mets are both playing poorly, so definitely. There is lots of discussion about where DeAndre Hopkins is going to end up. Most recent suitors potentially being the Patriots, where he visited over the past weekend. Matthew Judon was also on Twitter trying to call attention to the fact that maybe we're going to get DeAndre. There's no deal that has got done to this point. There's still no clear-cut front runner, but the rumors are still circulating around the Titans, Browns, and Patriots. Where do we think DeAndre Hopkins is going to end up this year?
Well, of those three, I can tell you he's definitely not going to Cleveland.
Yeah, no.
Well, and I just saw two earlier. They said Dalvin Cook says he would potentially want to team up with DeAndre somewhere if possible.
Well, that could be Cleveland. See them both go to Cleveland?
Titans are a rough spot because you got Derrick Henry there.
Yeah.
Patriots would make the most sense from both of those, but that would force
stars.
That would force Bill Belichick to.
Yeah, he's not going to do that.
He's a tough enough problem, just like taking on Randy Moss, even though that worked out well for them. For Bill, that was a gamble, let alone doing it on two.
What do you think, Noah? Where are they going to go?
You can see like the Vikings. That'd be pretty sweet.
They just left the Vikings.
Well, Dalvin did.
Oh, Dalvin did.
Yeah,
I didn't even see that. He's got to go somewhere like in the AFC, like maybe the Colts. Pair up T.Y. Hilton.
That's DeAndre potentially. I mean, they need a true number one. Obviously, got Jonathan Taylor in the backfield if they're teaming up. Now, DeAndre Hopkins would be a good fit in Indianapolis. I agree. I don't know what their cap situation looks like, though.
Yeah.
That, and I don't think DeAndre go to a team with a rookie quarterback either.
That's also true.
Fair enough.
But we'll see. These him and Dalvin Cook are the prize possessions right now out there in the free agent market. Talk about flipping people. Lane Kiffin, Jim, at Ole Miss, flipped 4-star sophomore quarterback recruit Austin Simmons from Florida to Ole Miss. Simmons is going to be at the school soon, as he's graduated early with a 5.34 GPA, skipping his junior and seasons, joining this year's recruiting class. He's also going to play baseball at Ole Miss. He will be 17 years old when he suits up this fall for the Red Rebels.
Couple things I have an issue with. He's 17 years old.
Well, he will be. He might be 16 right now.
How the hell does someone get a 5.34 GPA?
It's an interesting weighted scale that we didn't have when we were in high school, Jim.
Also, from what I've done some recon on this. Florida, he was supposed to go to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Flipped, and the Florida fans are all pissed off. I did some recon on the man's family.
Okay. And
his dad, very much one of those money grubbing dads. That like, what's in it for me, not necessarily my son. Gonna be one of those pain in the ass dads for Ole Miss. Not going to like him much. I feel like we're going to see him in the news. I think this is going to be more of a pain for Lane Kiffin than a prize possession.
So you're saying this is like the next up and coming LeVar Ball?
Close. Yes. There was only one LeVar Ball, but very close.
And to be honest, you don't hear much about LeVar Ball anymore now that all his kids are in the NBA.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he did what he had to do up until then, and then now they're making the money.
All right. Week 2 of the Helmet Challenge. We are doing the ACC. I now have a bracket. This is a rough upgrade, but here we go. In our first matchup, we have Duke versus North Carolina. Let me go over the rules for a second. We are going to have
rules this week.
Well, there was some rules last time.
Okay.
While these may be the helmets we are using, you can bring up discussion about the alternates, but ultimately we have to have a conversation. And then if there's a tie, we will flip a coin. Muff, do you have a coin?
I have the same thing we use all the time.
Okay, Muff will be the tiebreaker because he is the most trustworthy motherfucker I know. Okay? So, Duke, North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Muff, is that your vote?
All day.
What'd you say, Noah?
I'm going with UNC all day.
Nate?
North Carolina.
Do you guys even look into this? The alternative helmets are amazing for Duke.
So are they for North Carolina?
I like the Duke black helmet with the blue
yes
logo, but I'm also looking through and I don't know. I mean, I just like the Carolina blue better. I can't stand the Carolina helmets that have the footprint on it.
Yeah, that's so dumb.
That's a Tar Heel.
The blackout Duke helmets are better than that stupid ass Tar Heel.
Are you talking about that one, that like metallic blue, Nate?
Yeah, I hate that one.
Yes.
All right, those are kind of sweet.
All right, Noah, you're already. I don't even know why I want you here. All right, we'll move on. North Carolina wins this round. All right, Wake Forest, NC State. We're gonna start with Nate this time.
I'm looking up the alternates right now.
Wake Forest has some variations of alternates. NC State has a beautiful red helmet.
I'm going to go with the NC State ones that actually have the Wolfpack logo on it and not the
I agree with you there. I'm with Nate. Noah.
I'm going Wake Forest, man.
Okay.
Black and gold.
It is slick. On it. It is slick. I agree.
Go Pack, go.
So NC State rides again. That was tough for me. I'll get out of here. All right. This one may cause, it shouldn't, but I might get mad. So here we go. Virginia versus Virginia Tech. Noah, I'll let you go first.
Hold on.
Take your time, bud. You're new to the show.
Hold, please.
I'll fill the dead air. Virginia does not have a lot of alternates. They do have a shitty orange one. Virginia Tech's blackout helmet is very nice, but the maroon is kind of lackluster.
Oh, dude, Virginia Tech's sweet.
I agree with you.
Didn't even know they had these. Heck yeah.
So you are saying Virginia Tech?
VT all the way.
To Muff.
Oh, yeah, Virginia Tech.
Nate.
I'm going Virginia. I just don't think, like you said, the maroon helmet for Virginia Tech is kind of bland to me. Yeah. I think the colors of Virginia flow better.
I'm gonna make this simple. Virginia Tech. Sorry, Nate.
That's fine.
Blackout one for me. Okay. Thank God Alex isn't here. Pitt versus Syracuse.
Jim?
Pitt. All day, baby.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Pitt as well.
Sorry, Alex. Gotta go with that. Syracuse one is so fucking plain.
And it sucks so bad. No,
there's nothing else you can do about it. You're the Syracuse orange. It's like,
yep.
You might as well take the Cleveland Browns helmet.
Yep.
Yeah, Noah? It's like you have to go with Pitt. It looks like Syracuse's helmet was Home Depot just got in bed with Lowe's. Like, it's just boring.
I've seen better helmets in Pee Wee football than Syracuse.
Yes.
Right.
But hold on tight on to two shittier helmets, or as shitty, Boston College and Georgia Tech. This is hard.
That's what she said.
I gotta go with Georgia Tech.
Oh, fuck you, Muff. I'm going Boston College.
Oh, duh. Who saw that one coming? Jim's favorite.
Right.
If Jim can find a line that he likes in the first 5 weeks of the season for Boston College, he takes it.
Yep.
I got to go Georgia Tech only because they actually put some effort into it.
All right, Noah.
Yeah, Georgia Tech.
Oh, you rat bastard. All right. The battle in Florida. Florida State versus the U. Muff says the U. Noah.
Florida State for sure.
Ooh, Nate.
I think I also got to go Florida State because I don't know. There's just something with Miami's logo. There's a high school in West Virginia uses the same logo, and I don't know. I didn't really care for University High School, so I'm going to go Florida State.
We got a tie because I'm going the U. Muff to the coin.
The U will be the light side up.
Okay.
The U.
The U wins.
The U wins.
All right. Clemson versus Louisville. Louisville has a nice blackout helmet.
Oh, good lead. Good lead, Jim.
I had to do as much politicking as I can.
Give me Clemson.
Noah.
Oh, Louisville all day long. Clemson will never get my vote in anything.
Yes!
And I'm partial. I went to University of Tennessee, so I actually like Florence. Syracuse sucks. Clemson sucks. Bad helmets. Bad team.
Nate?
I was really hoping these two wouldn't get paired off right off the bat because I know that Louisville alternate helmet is slick, but I got to go Clemson.
Nope, flipping again.
Yep.
Jim, which one gets the light side?
Louisville.
Oh, Louisville moves on.
Yes! All right. On to the second round. See you later, Dabo.
Take your. Well, we had a bye there. We had a bye in the first round, didn't we?
We did. Notre Dame made it on to the second round via a bye.
There was some potential arguments earlier today about Notre Dame's
eligibility into this conference. Okay. We're going to start at the bottom here. Notre Dame versus Louisville.
Golden Domers.
Nate?
As much as Notre Dame is an iconic helmet, I can't stand Notre Dame, so give me Louisville.
Whew. Noah?
I'm going Notre Dame.
I'm sorry. I love that blackout, but I'm going with classic here, tradition. I'm going Notre Dame.
Let's go.
Need to get you more accustomed with some shorthand.
Yeah, I know, buddy. Okay. Georgia Tech versus the U.
Oh, the U all day if we're going to go there.
I second that, the U.
Yep, that's easy.
Georgia Tech overmatched.
For sure. All right. Pitt versus Virginia Tech.
I need to see if there's any Pitt alternates that I don't know about.
I don't think there are. I looked pretty hard, but you can tell me. Noah, what do you? Oh, Nate comes in.
I'll say I got to go Pitt just because Virginia Tech has no other alternate. I mean, the script Pitt looks real nice.
There's a black Virginia Tech.
Well, that, and I think didn't Pitt also have one where
they have a
on the side?
Yeah, it's a chrome with the panther on the side.
Oh yeah, that is nice.
It's
that
pretty
is
slick.
Nice. I choose Pitt. That's a good one.
I'm gonna go with Pitt as well.
Pitt wins. I was gonna go with Virginia Tech because I do like that blackout helmet.
Okay. NC State versus North Carolina.
The Farmers versus the Preps. Give me the Preps.
I feel like Muff shouldn't even have a vote there. Noah.
Give me UNC.
Nate.
I want the Wolfpack.
Damn. I really hate that Tar Heel.
Then don't. We're flipping.
I'm going UNC. They survive. I'm playing the long game here. Okay.
The long game. I don't know what long game you're playing.
I don't know anybody who you'll see. North Carolina versus Pitt.
I'm still with North Carolina.
I'll go with Pitt.
Noah.
Oh. I might stick with UNC as well.
Me too.
This long game Jim's trying to play is
Notre Dame versus the U.
Give me the Convicts.
Woo, 2. Noah.
Yeah, the U for sure.
All right, guys. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so here we go. The U for the championship versus North Carolina. Muff says the U and a nice switch.
I also say the U.
Yeah, I voted for the U in every one.
Yeah, but I thought you'd go with the North Carolina. It was a big move there. Oh, and the U has it, ladies and gentlemen. The U takes it, and the U is your champion of the ACC.
Joining who from last week?
Oregon.
Oregon, the champion from the Pac-12.
Ooh, they always have a fashion show though, so that's kind of expected.
That is true. That is true.
They had been the 1 seed.
Oregon and Miami. Next week,
move on.
We will do 1/2 of the SEC.
East or West?
Thinking East. Yeah, we'll do
SEC East next week.
SEC East next week.
Tune in next week for the SEC East.
All right.
And we're back after the ACC helmet battle where the U was victorious, joining Oregon. So
going to be some interesting turnouts at the end of the season.
Going to be some interesting things. In other things in sports, the Vegas Golden Knights, a former favorite of one of our show's namesake, wins the Stanley Cup in a runaway last Tuesday, 9-3 over the Florida Panthers in Vegas. Jim, do you have any comments on ditching your fandom the year?
No, I can't. That was the rule.
That's the capo of the crack house.
That was the rule. Right?
That was the rule. I just wanted to make sure that you weren't feeling any sort of way out now.
I don't have any FOMO. It is what it is. Good for them. As a journalist, I am congratulating the Stanley Cup champions, but
small J journalist. We're not big J's.
Yeah, we're not big J's. But good for them.
Good for them. The parade was Saturday, and it was on the Vegas Strip. And
that's awesome.
That's got to be the best thing ever.
Yeah.
I didn't see as much about that parade as I did as the Nuggets parade.
You know why?
Probably because we
happens
can't.
In Vegas stays in Vegas.
We probably had all the walkers out on the streets, peddling and throwing all their cards all over the place, and it was probably a thing. Probably a thing, and good for them. They got to enjoy it. So another tradition as the hockey season ends is you find out about all of the injuries.
Yes.
All the reasons that Charles Barkley said an NBA player would retire if anything happened to them, like does in hockey. So I tried to pull ones that I could find that had been divulged. The biggest one, and this found some relevance in the series as well in the Stanley Cup Finals, Panthers' Matthew Tkachuk, the best player on the team, suffered a broken sternum in Game 3. played in game 4. Apparently had to be dressed. Everything had to be put on him, and they just kind of pushed him out on the ice. Played through it. Ended up scoring the game-tying goal to send it to overtime in game 3 or in game 4, and then he was a scratch for game 5 because they just couldn't do it anymore. He couldn't do it anymore.
I I have had my brother has broken his clavicle and like pulled muscles in his sternum.
Mm.
My best friend has blown out twice all of the cartilage, all of the cartilage in his sternum during the wrestling season. Not broken it, but like just blown it to bits.
Mm-hmm.
I could not imagine and that guy is the toughest guy I know, and he could not wrestle. He thought it was healed, blew it out again, and could not wrestle. I could not imagine actually breaking it, going out on the ice and playing the toughest sport and scoring a goal, much less swinging a hockey stick.
Couldn't even imagine how difficult that would feel to breathe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just being there, just existing.
I mean, when my friend blew out that cartilage, he literally was just like this the entire time. Just couldn't move his arms. Just stayed like this. Couldn't imagine breaking that sternum. And playing hockey. Nope.
Too much pain. Too much pain right there.
Too much.
No, I
Like, my
thought
chest hurts.
mine once. My junior year going into senior year of football, we were lifting and maxing out in the weight room, and I dropped 275 on a barbell straight down to my chest.
Right? And
You break your sternum,
No,
but it
But
hurt.
were you caved in for at least a day?
no, probably for a good 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah. Nope.
Also, in the Panthers, most of this came from the Panthers. Aaron Ekblad broke his foot in their first round series against Boston. Also played through a torn oblique, dislocated his shoulder twice, and at least once, because they're not following this as well as the NFL, had to pass a concussion test.
Okay, couple of things. Oblique is your stomach, yes?
Yeah, it's the side.
Okay. Ow. Shoulder, you got to figure they're all doing that. Passing the concussion test, what do you think that's like in the NHL? Where did you park?
What's
Who are your line mates?
yeah, what's that on your jersey? What team do you play for? Good,
Yes.
good. Where are we at? No, we don't ask where he is.
That's not good. No.
Are you on the bench? Yeah, I'm on the bench. Perfect.
Yes. Can you put a helmet on? Good.
Are you on the power play, the PK, or both?
Right.
And he broke his foot in the first round. He just had a run of it. Panthers defenseman Radko Gudas was dealing with a high ankle sprain that I believe their head coach Maurice said would have kept him out for more than a month if it was during the regular season. Yikes. As somebody who's had a high ankle sprain, it was not fun. Also, Panthers head coach Paul Maurice shared that they've had about 4 broken bones, 3 shoulders they're going to have to get taken care of, most likely surgery. We've got oblique tears. He said it's not excused. We don't need one. These guys earned the right. They gave everything they had, apparently, including their sternum.
Do you think they just that flex tape that keeps water out?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they just instead of the actual
the tape,
they actually just put flex tape on?
Instead of physio tape, they put flex tape on them.
Flex tape it.
I just want to know what access to, and of course, Alex isn't here to answer this. What sort of medicinal drugs do these guys have access to that can play through all this shit?
Pour it all.
No way. That's not enough, Muff. That's not enough.
What do you think they're giving them?
That is not enough.
Toradol is what the NFL players use.
Muff, I get Toradol for migraines.
Yeah.
And I may or may not have driven a vehicle. That's fine. What I'm telling you is that
it fine?
If I had blown out a sternum or had any of the injuries that these men have spoken of, that Toradol would not have done shit.
Even if you took it after every period?
Not enough. Not enough. To swing a hockey stick with a broken sternum? No. We're talking high test Dilaudid. You're talking fentanyl and probably some mushrooms. to get my ass out there. No.
Mushrooms, how's that going to help?
Well, just so I know that I'm not hurt.
Is it just so you're in another world?
Yeah.
In a different psychedelic state.
Yeah.
Like, this
Step
is
away
fun.
from reality.
Yeah.
Shoot the shiny thing at the monster blocking the bow.
So you need to be like, because it happened, the anniversary of it was like last week. You need to be like Doc Ellis and just go high on LSD.
Yeah. I'm definitely tripping balls if I've got all that shit broken. Blown out of my mind.
I haven't really heard anything about any major injuries for Vegas. Although their captain, Mark Stone, had come back from multiple back surgeries to play the season.
Sure.
Nothing happened during the season. So,
And no knock on anybody with cancer, okay? Not cancer is a big deal. But when the NHL crew are like, hey, this guy came back from serious cancer, and they're just like, okay. Like somebody comes back to play baseball from serious cancer or NFL, it's like a heartwarming, gut-wrenching story. You can even see like teammates be like, oh man, this is amazing. Somebody comes back from cancer in the NHL, they're like, another injury, huh? Like they're just built different. They're just odd people.
odd.
If we're ever invaded, we want Canadian hockey players on our team.
That's the front line. Yep. So Brock Lesnar or Canadian hockey players, which one do you want?
I want Brock Lesnar to lead the Canadian hockey team. That's what I want.
That's good answer.
That's fair. I can get behind that. WNBA average viewership is up 49% on ESPN this season. There are more games, more interested viewers, and really, I just think ESPN started giving a shit about trying to put these games on TV. So I think they tried, and by trying, we've raised the viewership by around 50%.
Muff, I want you to make that a YouTube short. Go. That whole last little segment you just did, YouTube short.
Done.
Well done.
Consider it done. The U.S. men's national team in the soccer wins the CONCACAF League final against Canada 2-0. We beat the Canadians in something.
Oh, because soccer's not their jam.
They're not terrible. I'm not going to say they're the best. They're not terrible on Sunday night. But before that game, the U.S. played Mexico in the semifinal, and despite earning a 3-0 win in Vegas, it's probably about the same time as the Stanley Cup Finals were going on. Mexico's coach was also fired Monday, so he had that going for him. He'd just started in like February. Mm-hmm. The game was stopped before time ended due to homophobic chants from the crowd. The game itself was pretty chippy, as there were 12 cards shown in the second half, including 2 red cards, along with a scuffle that ended with U.S. player Weston McKennie having his jersey torn and almost pulled off of him. I could not find anything that said what fans were chanting specifically, but fans of Mexico have been in hot water before due to anti-gay chants during opposing goal kicks. And I still have yet to tie together what that could be. They have been fined, Mexico, the team has been fined up to $108,000 after the 2022 World Cup. Be interesting to see what they do leading up to the 2026 World Cup, which will be shared between Mexico, Canada, and the United States.
I'd like to follow that more.
And there's soccer talk.
I condemn all that behavior, but I would like to follow that more.
I mean, I really am. I mean, I'm sure it's out there. You can probably find a video of what the Mexican fans are chanting. It's just funny that it's only during goal kicks. So it has to be something very specific, I would assume. And the U.S. has hired Greg Berhalter as their head coach in his second stint coming back. Apparently, they hired a search firm and paid them $800,000-ish to say, oh, yeah, hire the guy we had before.
Okay.
So that's fun. In baseball, the College World Series is taking place in Omaha right now as we speak. There are games over the weekend. A game of interest, and since we have our guru of officiating, Nate, with us, I want to get his thoughts. He shared them in a text message earlier, but a game of interest for me, as I was watching on Sunday night, was Florida taking on the Oral Bobbies. That's right, Oral Roberts, back in the fold, now in the baseball College World Series. On Sunday night, the Gators were forced to take out one of the best relievers in the country because the manager went out for the 7th mound visit of the game. It was an important moment as the Bobbies were down 2 in the bottom of the 8th with 2 outs, bases loaded, and Florida had to bring in a freshman reliever who ultimately got the out, and the Gators ended up winning 5-4. But Nate, how does this rule translate to high school where you are an umpire?
So usually it doesn't really apply to varsity games because JV, they kind of call it the forgotten league and you don't even get lineup cards. But anyway, in the high school rule book, you get 3 visits to the mound per game.
Mhm.
So in this instance, if it would be the 4th visit, it would be an automatic pitching change. Same thing if you had the 2nd visit in the inning.
Okay.
For
And
the same,
the reason for that rule is by the visit, you're giving time for the pitcher to catch his breath, to refocus, to kind of recenter, and they're trying to eliminate that.
and they're also trying to keep the game going as well because nobody wants to see the pitching coach come out every inning, and especially in the high school game where not most of these fields have lights. Then there's only a small handful that do have lights. But again, it's just I think it's the whole thing that you're seeing across Major League Baseball, like speeding up the game and things like that. I mean, it's the 7th mound visit of the game. How bad is the game going if you're going out for a 7th freaking time?
Yeah, and you're winning. You're winning 5-3 at that time. I won. The coach did not realize it. So
see, I on that. You've got to know that.
Well, he stepped on the field, and I saw the replay. Walked, did like the normal manager, like I'm trying to look like I'm jogging, but I'm just walking kind of weirdly. Got like almost all the way to the mound, and the umpire said like, "Hey, coach, you got to take him out now. It's your 7th mound visit." And the coach tried to say, and you could kind of hear it in the background, like, "I asked you if I was good, and you said I was good." They replayed it back. That coach never even looked like he looked at the home plate umpire. Even see.
No, probably not. Especially whenever you get guys that are more veteran coaches or coaches that really have been around a while or just don't give a damn. They'll just start walking out and expect you to call time.
Right. And say, "Hey, you sure you want to do this?" Like, or just like, "Hey, this is me." So,
well, and then you also got to put some blame on the assistant coaches too, because someone's got to keep track of that. Like for me, if I'm working the plate in a high school game and a coach comes out, I even tell him, I said, "Coach, that's your first visit. You got 2 left."
Yeah.
Same thing with football with timeouts. Like, "Coach, you got 2 timeouts left this half," or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they're always like, "Oh, okay."
Do you? How do you keep track of that, Nate? Just on your clicker?
No. So on your lineup card, on the back of it, we just write down mound visits, timeout for football, whatever. So like football, you don't get lineup cards, but we have a little almost like a little booklet. You keep track of things on there, like timeouts. You can keep track of scoring, which I don't personally do. Any sort of.
Hey, Sam, what are you doing?
Keep it down, Sam.
No.
We're trying to have a show.
I'm just trying to ship my bags.
Really? It looks like you're ripping the box apart.
You're not allowed to ship with prime tape on a box.
Good night.
I'll wait till you're done.
People need their bags, guys.
So for football, we have like a little booklet, and our referee and my crew this year got some really nice ones. And you can put on there like the names of the coaches, the color the team's wearing, like I said, the timeouts. Like if you have any like unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, you got to write those down because if you get 2 in a game, you're ejected. Any sort of like game notes like that, like when we flip sides at the end of the quarter, like where was the ball at, like what hash, what yard line. So everything's being kept track on that.
All right.
And then you got players are like, "Hey, you know what the score is?" And I go, "Well, you know what? I didn't bring that big clicker with me tonight."
You know what the score is? Does not everyone have a board?
No, there's some schools that don't have a scoreboard, or if they do, they don't necessarily have a person that knows how to run it.
Okay. This is more baseball, I'm assuming.
Yeah, football. There's only ever been once, and I did. It was like a semi-pro game last year. Last year, 21. I think it was last year, and it was out in I think Licking Valley area in Ohio, and there was somebody sitting in the stands with like one of those like basketball like courtside scoreboards, the running clock like you see in wrestling tournaments, because the ones weren't working up like the main ones. To run it there. And then of course you got people saying how much time's left, and it's like, well, tell that guy to move.
I can see it just as well as you all.
Yeah.
So the teams left in the College World Series are Florida, LSU, and Wake Forest, all with 0 losses, and TCU, Oral Roberts, and Tennessee, all alive with 1 loss. I know LSU is playing Wake Forest right now.
Yep, I got that game on. It is currently 2-2, going to the top of the 8th.
Yeah, and I believe these are the 2 favorites.
Yeah, these would have to be the 2 ones that are up there. Wake is the number 1 overall seed. LSU is 5. Wake's been the best team in the country this year, and then LSU has historically always been good.
You know who's not there? Alabama. Jim, did you figure that out yet? Where that bet was placed?
No.
LSU was involved in that one, though.
No idea yet.
Don't forget. All right. So that takes us to the end of this episode of Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. Noah, appreciate you joining.
What are your thoughts, Muff?
Hey, you got one more.
No, what do you think of the
Jim took it out.
What do you think of the process here? You've now seen behind the scenes of Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff.
Yeah, it's really good. It's like very like segmented, and I like that.
Good.
So it's just like one after another, and then the sidebar conversations as well as the arguments. That's like the gold right there. But it's always good to just kind of go one by one. So
good. Well, we're glad we had you on, bud.
Yeah,
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, you can come back on. What's your favorite sport?
Probably football, NFL. Like close second would be like NCAA for sure. NCAA football.
So football it is. Football it is. We have any interest in specific teams? Tennessee?
Growing up in Columbus, no. Growing up in Columbus, I feel like all my friends are like split between Browns and Bengals, and they've just always been pretty much my entire life. So I just kind of stayed impartial. And like my favorite football teams are Ohio State Buckeyes because those are like true professionals. Browns are always a joke. Bengals, they show you some fun, but then they're consistently blowing the end of the season or the playoffs. So I can't rally behind either one.
It's unfortunate you're a Buckeyes fan, which means you're not allowed to be on any show when we talk about football. Because then everyone will be outnumbered because Nate, Alex, and myself all have different favorite teams.
I'm okay with it.
I'm sure you are, buddy. I'm sure you are.
He is also a degenerate, probably worse than I am. He probably rivals Alex in the world of degenerates. He's pretty close.
So you can be a special guest on some betting episodes this fall.
This guy's got the heater sometimes where you're just like, stop betting it.
Now, do you come with the tidbits, Noah, or are you just riding the feeling?
I'm just kind of.
Don't you lie. You always got some take from somebody somewhere. You always got some kind of input.
With betting, I'll do my homework, but like on all the other sports, a lot of times I just ride the wave, whatever it says.
You have like inside sources, or is this just like you just
random
dive deep?
Just random people on Twitter. I'm not even gonna lie. It's just like, oh, hey, he's made me money. I'm just gonna follow him. Like,
all right,
he could probably have a good opinion.
He's got an opinion on Twitter. We have opinions on Twitter too. I'm not gonna say they're good ones.
Hey, we did okay.
We didn't lose as much as whoever this unidentified NFL player was that lost $8 million.
That's true.
Did not do any of that. So that does bring us to end of this week's episode of Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. Remember, follow us at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, SportsStuffW/Jim, Ampersand Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, rate, review, poke, like, tickle.
Get the bell on.
And to keep this rocket ship going to the moon, past the moon, to all the other planets, make sure that you tell a friend, make a friend, be